Rising geopolitical tensions are causing some risk-off sentiment in markets, but they're also keeping oil prices supported. Hello and welcome back to our channel. My name is Daniela. And in today's video, we are going to be looking at oil prices because we've seen some bullish momentum in the last few days. We'll look at the chart to see what's been moving. But first, please like this video, comment, subscribe. And if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. So as I was saying, we've seen some bullish momentum in recent days. We've seen oil prices pushing past key resistance areas as we've seen a lot of interest around the commodity. A lot of this coming because, as I was mentioning, those geopolitical tensions escalating. Now, we've got two open fronts and we've seen developments in both of them. On the one front, we've seen ongoing attacks on Russian refineries from Ukraine. And then we've also seen Israeli attacks on Iranian embassies in Syria. So all of these concerns about geopolitical tensions escalating have been weighing on sentiment in markets. We've seen it in equities pulling back from recent highs, but it has been keeping commodities like oil supported mostly on the back of those concerns about supply, specifically because of those attacks on Russian refineries. So that has been keeping oil prices supported, as I said, helping them push past key areas of resistance. We also have other events going on. On the one hand, we've had some data come out. Now, inventories fell again last week. So for the week ending the 29th of March, we saw US inventories falling after a 9 million barrel increase in the week prior. So that has also kept oil prices supported in the short term. We also have the Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee meeting today. So that includes OPEC and non-OPEC countries, and they will be discussing production quotas, and of course, talking about whether they are going to extend the current production cuts, whether there will be any further production cuts. So far, no changing expected to the current output, so therefore no further cuts, given specifically the rise in oil prices that we've seen in recent days, which has counteracted some of those concerns from the oil producers. So no change expected from the joint ministerial meeting. But of course, something to watch out for today on Wednesday. We could see potentially a little bit of volatility in oil prices if we do see any headlines coming out from there. Also, something to keep an eye out, of course, is Fed rate cut expectations, whether any changes to these cuts are expected. Market's still pricing in a chance of a cut in June and 3 rate cuts expected this year. I wouldn't be surprised if that does change in the next few weeks. And of course, any change to that could see some volatility in oil prices. Specifically for today, we have a lot of Fed speakers on the calendar. We have including Fed Chairman Jerome Powell speaking. So any volatility that we see when it comes to repricing some of those expectations could see some moves in the dollar, and therefore we could see that weigh on the US crude price specifically. So in terms of today, we have to monitor that OPEC and non-OPEC joint meeting, the Fed speakers, and of course, any ongoing or further advances in these geopolitical tensions, which have been keeping investors slightly nervous and shying away from some of the riskier assets. So let's jump onto the chart now to see what's moving. Okay, so let's kick it off with the visuals of commodities first. You can see we've seen that strong momentum in oil pushing past that key resistance level, but also alongside that move higher in gold and silver. Now, usually when we've got a significant move in oil prices, it has an impact on inflation expectations, and therefore that likely moves the yields higher, real yields push higher, and that should weigh on gold. Now, when we have gold and oil prices moving together, that usually indicates it's coming from a risk-off scenario. And on this case, it means that the move are coming from the supply side rather than the demand side. And of course, that is what we have. As I said, these geopolitical tensions keeping oil prices supported, but also gold as investors are trying to safeguard their portfolios, shying away from, as I said, some of those risky assets like equities, which have been outperforming in recent months. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback, nothing too significant, more of a technical correction. but definitely seeing this joint bullish momentum in oil and gold, confirming that a lot of this is coming from that risk-off situation and kind of supply concerns in oil. Let's take a look quickly at the daily chart, the US crude. As I was saying, pushing above that key level of resistance. That was a significant area to target. As you can see, it took about a week, just over a week, to actually manage to break above this level. Once we did, we've seen a clear bullish pattern. The RSI now facing that overbought area, as you can see here, struggling a little bit to consolidate higher, but nonetheless, we still have the path of least resistance pointing higher. We do have some of these moving averages still needing to cross above. So we've got this 50-day and 100-day needing to cross above the 200-day, which is the yellow line, in order to confirm and consolidate the move even further. But so far, the fact that we've broken above this key resistance, specifically this 82.50 when it comes to WTI, so US crude, is indicating that bullish momentum is really intact. We're seeing a little bit of resistance. As I said, that's not uncommon. We've seen it here in the past, just around that 85.20 level. As long as we're able to keep building those higher highs and higher lows, I do still think that the pattern does point higher. But as I said, we have quite a bit going on the calendar, specifically those Fed speakers. If we do see some reaction in the market, repricing expectations for rate cuts, moving the dollar, then we could see that impacting US crude as well, as alongside any announcements from the joint OPEC and non-OPEC meeting today, as well as any further news when it comes to these geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, but also in between Ukraine and Russia. That is it for today's analysis on oil. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.